Hello, everybody. It's a Wednesday. That means only one thing. It's time now for Supernatural News and Parashare here on the best in paranormal podcasting. This is Darkness Radio. I'm your host, Tim Dennis. And of course, with that, we need a co-hostess. So we bring in one of the best in the biz. She's intelligent. She's witty. She's an author. She has not one, not two, but now 3 books out there. And I hear the Hindustan Times right now knocking on her door. Ladies and gentlemen, here she is, Jessica Freeburg. Hi, Jessica.
Hey, they're always after me.
They are. I hear one of their best, one of their best representatives right now, knocking on your door, asking if you'll be on the Hindustan Times bestseller list for this newest book. Tell us what the newest book is now. It's out as we speak.
Yes, it just was born on the 12th. So when you guys listen to this, that will be tomorrow. It is my original novel, the very first book that I ever wrote. And it used to be called Living in Shadows. Now it's called The Homecoming. It's been re-edited. It's got a new ending and it's just brought back to life. So I'm really excited about it. And it's just a good ghost story. Actually, I saw someone today who I gave a copy of the old one to a while ago, and she said, I meant to tell you I couldn't read it. It was too scary. I was like, that is the greatest compliment. Thank you so much.
And actually, just to correct you just a bit, when they hear this, it'll be yesterday that the book came out.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. See, your time travel.
Exciting.
Yeah.
I'm a time traveler too. I'm an author and a time traveler.
Yeah. Look at that. So, hey, look at that. Yeah. Yeah. So this would be Wednesday as people are hearing this. So it would have came out
Yes.
Tuesday as they hear.
Tuesday.
Yeah. So there you go. Yeah. So, well, that's amazing. So yeah. So you've got not one, not two, but 3 books out there active and circulating as it is right now. So
Yeah. So you have no reason not to read something, you guys. Go buy a book.
that's right. Go buy a book. Books are reading is fundamental. At least that's what they used to tell me in school. I don't know what
It
that is.
makes you smarter, Tim.
I guess well, I don't know. That's not what my old man used to tell me when I was little. He used to tell me I was an idiot, but I don't know.
What?
At least that's what they tell me in the comments of certain websites. They tell me I'm an idiot as well. So
Oh, how dare they? Those are fighting words.
I'm too old to fight. I got nothing left.
Yeah.
I got nothing in the
You have to kind of not care, right?
yeah, yeah, that's true. There's that.
But the
But
mama bear in me gets mad. Don't say mean things about my Tim. I love him.
oh, thank you. Well, eh. All I got in me is energy to read you these stories. It's all I got.
That's all we got to do.
That's all we got to do. That's right. And actually, we got quite a few stories today. We've got some good ones as
Oh,
well.
good.
Yeah. Plenty of ye old alien stories today. In fact, stuff from top scientists talking this week about, of course, the fact that aliens civilizations are real. We've heard that before, but we'll find out why they're so adamant about it today. A big time rapper out there says killer robots are taking us over. We'll find out that today and what's going on with that in our Nightmare Fuel segment. An interesting story today, Jess, about how if you die in a dream, is it really possible that you could die in real life?
Yeah, that's what they always say.
Science has now looked into it. So we will talk about that today as well. A 25-foot humped creature was filmed moving across the surface of Loch Ness. We'll check in with that. Also, the FBI once tested Bigfoot hair samples. A former agent
Ooh,
has weighed in on that. Yeah.
this is a good episode. I'm excited.
Yeah. So we'll talk about that today as well. And at the very last story today, a lot of you have reached into the old email bucket and sent me emails this week talking about Tim, escape monkeys. Well, I know about those. You know, there's supposedly 43 monkeys that got loose in South Carolina, but did you know that not all of them got away scot-free?
Hmm.
I've got the update on these free monkeys. That's right. See, not all
You
monkeys.
know how I love monkeys.
That's right. Not all monkeys that get away free necessarily get away free, if you know what I mean. So we've got the update on those missing monkeys from that research facility in South Carolina. I've had many listeners tell me, well, that's the beginning of a zombie apocalypse. I don't know how that
Ooh,
goes hand in hand. I don't get that. Um, I think,
I hope not.
yeah, I've had quite a few tell me, well, that's the beginning of the Planet of the Apes. I could see that. Sure. I'll give
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
it. Um, I've had some people tell me that's the beginning of the opposite faction that's going to bring down Skynet. I like that. That's, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that's creative.
Yeah,
I'll take
I
that.
like that one too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So we'll get into that at the very end of the program today. But first, a top scientist says there's undeniable proof of alien civilizations and it will emerge soon.
Undeniable.
I've heard this before, Jess.
I want to believe.
I do too, but a leading U.S. academic has crunched the numbers on how soon we can expect to see catastrophic, and this is in quotes, catastrophic disclosure of contact with an alien civilization. I'm trying to hold back my smile here. Many so called experts in the field believe that the Pentagon is hiding evidence of multiple UFO crashes in the U.S. and elsewhere. They say that without a carefully managed program to share that information with the public, the only other outcome is a catastrophic disclosure where hard evidence is published without any filter that could potentially have dramatic consequences, according to noted UFO expert Dr. Stephen Greer. Now, there's a heavy hitter right there,
Hmm.
Dr. Stephen Greer. He
Yeah.
claims it could upend society and lead to riots, even wars, as people struggle to cope with the new reality. Interesting. Matthew Zydegas, who is an associate professor of physics at the University of Albany, has published a scientific paper outlining the statistical likelihood of catastrophic disclosure. He explained on the UAP Studies podcast, I decided instead of letting things continue to be vague and qualitative to actually do the math. I'm glad somebody's doing it because I can't do that kind of math. I'm just telling you right now. He started from the premise that there is some kind of non human intelligence active in and around the Earth, and that at least some of the numerous reports of UFO crashes were genuine. Well, that's a good place to start. Matthew went on to say, I took the assumption that there is some sort of intelligence. They fly ships that can break down, and that crashes like Roswell are not fictional but real. Then I went on to calculate then how long it is before an accident that can't be cleaned up fast enough happens, where the military industrial complex no longer has control of the narrative. It's a good assumption. There are so many people carrying around smartphones with high quality cameras these days, Professor Zydegas said, that footage of a crash in or near a major metropolitan area would flash around the world before any cover ups could take place. In his paper, he says we can expect to see hard, undeniable evidence of extraterrestrial activity rather soon, by which he means that any time could be between today and 2060. Still 36 years.
Yeah, it's a ways.
Yeah, give or take a year or two. He writes the results of simulations of numerous different potential scenarios of varying degrees of pessimism or optimism indicate that NHI or ETs is or are real catastrophic disclosure may actually happen accidentally rather soon, with the mean expected years being 2040 plus or minus 20 under the default assumptions. So
Oh,
it'd be 2040, give or take 20 years. So somewhere in
okay. That's much closer.
that is
We'll
what
be around for that.
that's right. Well, speak for yourself.
Well,
Yeah, you're talking to a diabetic with Charcot over here. I'm hoping. I'm knocking on wood. Say I'm knocking on wood.
I
I'm
plan to be. Well, yeah, we'll just put it that way. We plan to be around. We'll be
planning.
kicking it in a nursing home around then.
That's right. Planning to be. Planning to be. He adds that in a world where AI faked footage has become commonplace, fears of catastrophic disclosure causing an actual global disaster may be overblown. He explains people think that religion and politics and governments will fall apart. I'm not so sure. I think most people wouldn't care think that we're in such an era that actually people would just assume it's still fake and just not care. Now, I could see that as well, that they would think that, well, what we're seeing and that's coming down at us is all fake, right?
Right. You don't know what to believe anymore.
Yeah, it's a holographic image. I could see that. I'm not sure I buy into the idea that that capturing a crashed alien ship on your smartphone and uploading that and having enough evidence from multiple people from different angles where it's really hard to claim that it's a hoax is something he said, which I don't know that makes sense. But he also said, I think that even that is not going to be really catastrophic. Um, so he's kind of, I don't know, going back on what he said about it being catastrophic, uh, but he's saying 2040, give or take 20 years, and we'll have that proof of alien civilizations.
I mean, I kind of hope so. And I do hope people don't lose their bananas and like go nuts over it. Let's just embrace it and meet our new neighbors, make friends.
Hey, we're Minnesotans. We'll bring the hot dish. Just saying.
That's right.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
will bring a casserole because I'm from Iowa, but you can bring a hot dish.
Hey, I'm all about the hot dish. Just depending on what it is, I mean, do you bring tuna hot dish to an alien?
Probably not, but my kids love tuna hot dish, I will say. Tuna casserole at our house is like comfort food. And they used to hate it when they were little, and now they ask for it when they come home for college.
Really?
Yeah, I'm like, I knew you guys would love this someday.
See? Yeah. I not my first choice, not my favorite. I prefer the goulash. I like the goulash.
Ooh.
I'm big with that.
My favorite
Hmm.
is tater
Oh,
tot casserole, or tater tot hot dish, if you will.
see, I think that it might be an acquired Midwestern taste. I
Ah,
know some people who are not big fans.
oh, I could eat it all day long.
I
I
could
love it.
I could too. I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan. Have you ever heard of the hobo dinner? You're a Midwestern gal, but I think that's more of a North Dakota thing.
I don't think, yeah, no, I've never heard it. I think I might have heard you talk about it once, but I've never experienced one.
Yeah, the hobo dinner it's made in tin foil. It's literally you put everything in tin foil, and it's depending on how you make it. It's you put your beef on the bottom. It could be ground up hamburger or just beef in the bottom, and then you've got your vegetables. So it could be carrots or peas or whatever you put in there. And then on the top layer is potatoes. So whether it's sliced potatoes or hash browns, whatever you're putting on the top, people are going to yell at me for the hash browns because that's not what they do. It's generally sliced potatoes. And then you
Yeah, yeah.
fold up the tin foil like it's a hobo dinner, literally, like you put it over a fire. But most people put it in the oven. You just slide it in the oven. You bake it for however long you bake it for. Then you pull it out and
I love, see?
you eat it right out of the tin foil, Jess.
Yeah, like a hobo. We should totally take that to our new alien neighbors, I think.
Yeah,
Hobo dinner.
little
Welcome
hobo
to
dinner.
Earth.
Yeah, just say welcome my extraterrestrial hobos, and then they think you're calling them a name and punch you in the face. Yeah, just saying.
And down you go.
That's right. Down down you go. It's a little boom like that. Speaking of, I hope you're not offended, Jess, but this weekend at the Palmer, I don't
Yeah.
know if you did this on purpose. Maybe you did because it's a bonding moment. Did you realize that Friday is the Tyson fight?
No, I did not. I don't keep up on my
You,
fights.
you didn't realize that?
No, can we stream it somehow?
Yes, on Netflix.
Okay.
Yes. So
Okay. Well, we will have a big screen and I believe our projector, so we might be able to hook that up like in the cafe.
I'll have my iPad that has Netflix on it. So if you'd like, we could hook it
Yeah.
up to the projector. We could watch Tyson fight.
There you go. All right, we'll do it. It's a plan.
There you go. See, it'll last all 8 seconds, so it won't take very long. I mean, you know, we can all grab a drink, slam it, and then we can watch Mr. Paul hit the canvas at the same time that we're slamming
And
our
then
drink.
it's over.
And it's
Yeah,
over.
and then we can just dance.
Yeah, dance and go ghost hunting. See, I mean, it won't take very long. Anyways, our next story has to do with UFO witnesses that are set to testify at a congressional hearing actually today, November 13th.
Hmm,
As I look at the
exciting.
calendar. Yes. The hearing is to give several prominent witnesses the opportunity to detail their own experiences. According to Defense Scoop, the hearing, which is going to take place, well, today is what it was scheduled for, will be headed up by the Republicans on the House Oversight and Accountability Committee. The Cyber Subcommittee and National Security Subcommittee will hold a joint hearing on UAPs on November 13th, according to a spokesperson. Cyber Subcommittee Chairwoman Nancy Mace, who's a Republican out of South Carolina, and National Security Subcommittee Chairman Glenn Grothman from Wisconsin, Republican from Wisconsin, will co-chair the hearing, officially entitled Unidentified Anomalous Phenomena Exposing the Truth. The event, which will examine government transparency, with regard to cases of UAPs that expose a potential threat to U.S. national security, will also hear testimonies from several witnesses, including retired Navy Rear Admiral Timothy Gallaudet, who has previously spoken out about USOs or unidentified submerged objects. Last year, he told News Nation correspondent Ross Coulthart that there had been attempts by the U.S. military to cover up the phenomenon, and that there are non-human entities visiting the planet. We're being visited by non-human intelligence with technology that we really don't understand, and with intentions we don't understand either, he said at the time. Exactly who else will be testifying at the upcoming hearing remains unclear, as does how much of the proceedings will actually be made available to the general public. With the topic of UFO transparency being high up on the agenda, however, it would seem contradictory to keep everything that is said at the hearing under wraps. You know, Jess, the other thing that fascinates me, especially after this last election, is the fact that President Trump had said, or President-elect Trump had said, that should he be reelected, one of the things that he'd be interested in doing is reopening a bunch of files. One of the things was the JFK assassination files.
Yeah.
The other thing is taking another look at the alien stuff and getting deeper
I
into
love it.
stuff. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking
I
forward
am too.
to
We're going to hold him to it.
the administration taking a deeper look at some of the supernatural stuff and some of the conspiracy theory stuff. So, hey, I'm looking forward to that. You know,
Yeah, I love it. That'll be so good. I really hope they do follow through on that because, there's just so much information that they have that we're not privy to. And I want to know.
yeah, yeah. Although the one thing that he did say about the Kennedy stuff is he said the one concern he had was that most of the people, he said most of the stuff was already out there, but there were a few things that were redacted. He said his main concern was that everybody who was involved was gone, that they were
Right.
deceased. And then it was safe to release the files. But that he had seen everything. And it didn't seem like there was anything in there that was that much of a big deal. Which to me tells me that we're really not missing out on anything.
Right. Like we probably kind of already know.
Yeah. I don't think there's any big surprises. But I still think there's maybe one or two things in there that might be somewhat shocking. And it's not the shocks that you may think there may be in there. If anything, it's who exactly the FBI was investigating.
Right.
Those surprises. So, yeah, interesting stuff. Our next story has to do with a terrified man who says that 6-foot aliens with 4 fingers kidnapped him, and experts say that UFOs do exist.
4 fingers. Do you think they're missing an opposable thumb? That could be problematic.
They have 3 fingers and then they have the thumb, so it'd be like this.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Are you amazed that I can do this?
I am. I'm like trying. Oh, I got it.
See, you can do that. See,
It took me a minute. My brain was like spasming as I tried. It's kind of like when you do, I can do this pretty easily.
I,
I mean, that's automatic.
I used to, well,
That little V
now
sign.
that I did this, it's hard for me to do that because this
Oh,
is,
you can't really do it with the other hand as well. The other hand
see, I can do this with
is a
this
little
hand. Now that
harder.
I didn't do that, I can do that. People are like on audio or like, what are you doing? See, I can do
We're doing the fingers. What is this called? What is this from?
that's a Spock gesture. Yeah.
Yes.
From Star
Thank
Trek.
you.
Yeah. But what I did on audio for people that can't see, I folded down my ring finger on my right hand and I threw out my three fingers and my thumb. So it was
Yeah,
my,
it looks weird.
it does, doesn't it? So it looks like
Yeah, it does.
my ring finger on my right hand.
Yeah, it's trippy.
Yeah. Now when I go like this, watch there, I just blew into my thumb and blew out my ring finger.
What a party trick.
I'm telling you, right? It impresses all the 3-year-olds.
Yeah.
Just saying, right? So that's just,
Boom. There
oh,
goes. He blew it up, people.
yeah, I blew it up right there. See, it's quite the party trick. Yeah. Anywho, the Falkirk Triangle boasts a staggering amount of UFO reports, from shining star and cigar-shaped craft to flashing lights and howling noises, leading it to be dubbed the Roswell of Scotland. That's right, we're going over to Scotland, where it's known as one of the most prolific UFO hotspots with around 300 annual sightings. But it's not Area 51 or Roswell. This is Bonnybridge, a picturesque Scottish village at the apex of an area dubbed the Falkirk Triangle, where extraterrestrial encounters ranging from alien abductions to cigar-shaped spaceship sightings are almost commonplace. Known as the Roswell of Scotland and compared to the Bermuda Triangle because of speculation that it's a window to another dimension, intense UFO activity has sparked government investigation and pleas for help to 4 prime ministers. The quote is, "I've been doing this job for 45 years. I honestly believe that somewhere in the skies of this planet, we are dealing with non-human intelligence," says UFO expert Malcolm Robinson, who says that NASA, the American government, and the Pentagon have all investigated extraterrestrial sightings. As part of a new documentary series showing on Blaze, experts from around the world have tried to uncover why UFO activity in the Falkirk Triangle, located above the cities of Falkirk, Glasgow, and Edinburgh, is so intense. A terrifying encounter in 1992 saw friends Gary Wood and Colin Wright claim that they were taken prisoner by extraterrestrials in a flying saucer as they drove towards Tarbrax, rather, which is a South Lanarkshire village, to deliver a satellite TV system to a friend. It was about 10 p.m. when they spotted a black object in the sky above them. It had no lights and was round at the bottom. It had 3 parts and was 30 feet wide. The friends blacked out for what they believe was 10 to 15 seconds, coming to with their car facing in the opposite direction. Checking the time, they had lost an hour. Secret Government X-Files contained a 2-page report on what had become known as the A-70 incident, sent to the Ministry of Defense's UFO desk in 1996, 4 years after the encounter. Headlined "Unexplained Aerial Sighting," it is based on evidence provided by Mr. Wood. I'd love that nickname, by the way, I'm just saying. Then a 33-year-old ambulance technician from Edinburgh. Malcolm Robinson says days after the incident, both men found scars on their bodies that weren't there before. Their wives refused to believe them, of course. Their colleagues at work refused to believe them, of course, because it makes for a better story if it's more than just aliens with those kind of scars, you know?
Right.
Yes. Yeah. Just saying.
Mm-hmm.
After looking up paranormal experiences in the local library, they found Malcolm, who suggested they had hypnosis with astonishing results. Speaking in 1996, Gary said, "I saw 3 creatures coming toward my car. I felt intense pain like an electric shock. Then I was in some room. I saw these things like wee men moving about, doing something to me. I could only see up. Then this 6-foot creature approached." Well, that's not good. "It was white gray in color with a large head and dark eyes with a long, slender neck, very slim shoulders and waist. There were either ribs or folds of skin on its body. The arms were like ours, but there were 4 very long fingers." Kind of like that.
Yes.
Does that look creepy?
Creepy. They're coming at me.
Yeah. By the 1990s, the MOD's UFO unit was being inundated with reports of Falkirk Triangle sightings, and public outcry intensified. Massive gatherings were held by UFO witnesses and concerned locals, filling entire filling entire auditoriums desperate for answers. Local councillor Billy Buchanan and Malcolm Robinson lobbied Parliament for an investigation, visiting Downing Street 4 times to meet with John Major, Tony Blair, Gordon Brown, and Rishi Sunak, but to no avail. We are demanding that the British government open an inquiry into UFO sightings in Scotland, says Malcolm. We are happy to turn over our files and photographs, but I doubt anything will happen. They are too stuck in their ways. They say that as these objects do not pose any threat to the security of the UK, the British government will not open any inquiries. An earlier UFO sighting in 1979 saw forestry worker Bob Taylor, who is a World War II veteran, who helped to liberate Bergen-Belsen, heading into the woods at Decmont Law to check for stray sheep and cattle. Stepping into the clearing, Bob was confronted by a large circular sphere, which later he described as a flying dome hovering over the forest floor. Dark and metallic with a rough texture like sandpaper, it had small propellers on its outer rim. Smaller spheres resembling sea mines dropped down from beneath the hovering object, hit the ground, and started rolling towards him, then dragging him towards the hovering craft. Bob's last recalled a strange burning smell and a swishing sound before everything went black. Unable to drive when he came to, he walked back to his home in Livingston, breaking down and telling his wife he had been attacked. Bob's pants were completely torn and he looked bedraggled and beaten. Yikes. Authorities.
Yikes, that's terrifying.
Oh, that's horrible. Authorities at the scene documented indentations on the ground where he was. The investigation concluded that Bob had experienced a particularly vicious attack, but by what? The police eventually classed it as an assault by a person or persons unknown, shelving the report pending further evidence. Other experts wondered if Bob had been struck by lightning or suffered a seizure. Described throughout investigations as an honest, reliable man of good character, Bob remained faithful to this account until his death in 2007. Historian Tony McMahon, who has been investigating the sightings, asks why eyewitnesses would leave themselves open to mockery unless they truly believe that they had an alien encounter. He says those involved were seen as reputable figures, not as flakes. He says these were completely normal people who had this absolutely bizarre experience. I think the fact that it has recurred in that area is fascinating. In this case of the Falkirk Triangle, we are dealing with people who are seen as pillars of the community, and what happened to them was quite traumatic. You can't see an upside to making it up. I think these people genuinely believe that they saw what they reported. Some suggest that the Falkirk Triangle is a UFO hotspot. As the thinning between worlds, there is more fragile there than anywhere else in the UK, making it an ideal slipping point between dimensional realms. Others believe that an intergalactic stream or highway runs through that area, making it an ideal celestial stopping point. Archaeologist Natasha Bilson is quite skeptical, but notes that many UFO sightings are near places of archaeological importance. When it comes to UFO sightings, a lot of them are near to archaeological sites such as Stonehenge, she says, and the largest collection of stone circles in the British Isles are in Scotland. But Tony McMahon says, like many other global UFO hotspots, the Triangle is within 50 miles of two military air bases and close to both Glasgow and Edinburgh airports. He explains there are two ways of looking at that. One is that what is happening on those military sites is misconstrued as UFO activity. Everything from weather balloons to flares, even to cutting-edge technology that the government would rather you didn't know about. There is a perfectly good case to be made for that. Equally, there is argument that if we're being watched by aliens or by extraterrestrials, there is every reason to suspect that they would take a particular interest in military installations. Some people say maybe they are taking an interest in military installations because they want to knock us out, invade, colonize us. But there is another argument put forward that they are taking an interest because they are protecting us from ourselves. There's even an argument that alien technology has been shared with us, but the aliens won't share anymore because we keep misusing it against each other. Somebody wrote that after Hiroshima and Nagasaki, the aliens decided that was that was more than enough. So in other words, no more.
Yeah.
Malcolm Robinson, founder of Strange Phenomena Investigation Scotland, the country's oldest UFO society, which turns 45 this month. He just gives his top Falkirk sightings, and we can skip that. But
Okay.
interesting stuff. Falkirk Triangle, that's for sure.
Yeah, so interesting. And you know, the explanation that it could be mistaken, Air Force stuff going on, okay, maybe some of it, but the guy that had the experience where his pants were torn and he was dragged and couldn't drive home, he had to walk home, like that wasn't the Air Force,
No, no.
obviously.
Unless they had a good time with them, but yeah, that's not the Air Force. No, not by far, by far.
I do wonder sometimes though if the aliens are like they've been watching us a really long time and the more they observe us, they're like, yeah, I don't know. It's not. That's what happened.
Yeah.
They're too messed up. Look at what they've done to the oceans and all of the, trash
Well,
plastic islands and stuff.
yeah, I've always contended too. If aliens really are here and they're really looking out for us, they got to think that we're so messed up that they wouldn't want that much interaction with us to begin with.
Yeah,
You know,
maybe more enlightened than us.
yeah, if they're that enlightened, why would they want that much contact with us? One, and if they did have contact with us, you would think it would be physically violent in nature, almost like when a zookeeper has to have contact with a beast, right? And it's a physically violent beast. If you're going to have contact with them, it's either very gentle and fairly slow, or they go in there hardcore, right?
Yeah,
You gotta be just as violent as the beast in order to control it. It's one or the other. So and I think that's what you see in cases of these supposed UFOs. They either hovered and they're very much hands off, or something violent happens, right? It's one or the
right,
other. There's no in between. They don't land and have a nice chat with you, right? No one comes off a ship and decides to interact and have a great time with you. I mean, you're not kicking back and watching the ball game with an alien. It's not happening.
right. Generally not. I'd love to.
Yeah, yeah, why not? But they don't have that interaction with you. And I think it's probably because they do see us as threats, and
Yeah,
barbaric threats at that, right? I mean,
like animals to them.
yeah, yeah. But again, you have to kind of figure out why. What is it about their societies that they think they're so enlightened and we're not?
I don't know. How enlightened can they be? They're generally naked. They don't even wear clothes, Tim.
I know, right? They have no fashion
Just,
sense whatsoever.
but maybe that's part of the enlightenment. There's no shame in your body. Your body's just your body. And they're always ripped. There's never an overweight alien. They're always, trim and slim and
Or are they?
hmm.
I mean, they seem to me like they have maybe like a little pot belly,
Yeah.
you know?
And Eve, they might have a little pot belly. I think you're right.
Yeah,
Like a beer belly. Do you think they drink beer? That's why they're beer drinkers.
I think so. Yeah, I think,
Chugging around up there.
but it might be
I'm
light
not
beer.
quite sure how to help you with that.
I don't know. I think Alexa knows,
Yikes.
but she's not going to help,
AI at its finest.
right? Good God, that was creepy.
It is creepy.
I didn't even say anything,
Not as creepy as that one time when mine in the other room with the door shut started playing a song. That was weird.
right? I
Haunted.
I know. You be quiet.
It's like you're talking to a dog.
Yeah, well, every once in a while, yeah,
Gosh, now.
yeah. Even when I tell it to be quiet, it doesn't. It's very,
Yeah,
yeah. It has a mind of its own.
it
Like
does. It's creepy.
I think the government's listening on that thing.
They're fascinated by you, Tim.
I just keep it on. I just keep it for the weather forecast. Although if I ask for it right now, it won't tell me.
No.
No, it doesn't listen to me at all. It's like having an electronic wife. I mean, it really is. It just,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, it's weird. Um, Our next story has to do with a mystery silver cube UFO, amongst other strange objects, filmed over Missouri. Something strange has been frequenting the skies over the state in recent years. 3 years ago, it was reported about a case of Justin Johnson, who is a Missouri resident who used his mobile phone to film a peculiar spinning cube-shaped object floating over the state. Now his sighting and his footage are back in the news again, this time as part of a story highlighting the number of unexplained objects that have been spotted over Missouri over the last few years. In addition to Johnson's sighting, some of the more prominent examples have included the sighting of a thin white object that was filmed zooming across the sky near a passenger jet last summer, and even a second UFO sighting filmed by Johnson himself just a few weeks ago. UFO researcher Alejandro Rojas, however, has urged caution over interpreting these sightings. The vast majority of sightings that we get are misinterpretations of something mundane, he said. There are a lot of great possibilities out there, but we just don't know. We really need to follow that data to figure it out. For Johnson, however, the objects he has recorded remain something of a mystery. We're on the precipice of finding out something that can change humanity forever, he said. This is all very exciting to me, is his other quote. I tell you what, there is also a video of a news report that features all of the clips that I've just mentioned. I'm going to take and I'm going to post this in the description of the program so you can check out all the clips for yourself and maybe even see this mystery silver cube that they're talking about.
Awesome.
Yeah, there you go. Cut down on a little time for all of us. Meanwhile, Boeing has released an unexpected new video about the secretive X-37B space plane, which to me looks like a little bit like the space shuttle. I'll show you here, Jess. This is everything old is new again.
Oh, yeah, that's like old school.
Isn't it? Doesn't it look like Challenger to you?
It does.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's got that look. I mean, at least it does to me, without the fuel tank on the bottom, at least. The clandestine vehicle has been in space for almost a year on its latest mysterious mission. It says here, resembling a miniature version of NASA's now retired space shuttles, this pint-sized robotic space plane was passed over to the U.S. Department of Defense back in 2004 and has since embarked on a series of secretive orbital missions, sometimes spanning over 2 years at a time in space. Its most recent mission saw the X-37B launch into the heavens atop a SpaceX Falcon Heavy back in December 28th of 2023, but its activities since then have remained, as usual, complete mystery. Last month, though, in a surprising move, Boeing and the U.S. Space Force actually revealed that the enigmatic space vehicle would be conducting a series of aero-braking maneuvers to enable it to move to a lower orbit where it would dispose of surplus hardware before returning to the Earth. Going to a lower orbit to get rid of hardware sounds odd.
It's like a bad idea.
It is, because you know what happens when you go to a lower orbit and you get rid of hardware?
Then it's just going to become space junk and fall out of the sky and hit us in the head while we're walking to park one day.
Well, that could. Wow, that's very specific. You thought about
These
that.
are my nightmares.
Yeah, you've thought about that scenario. Either that, or if you're not quite in that orbit where it falls to Earth and hits you in the head while you're going to court one day, it stays in an orbit where it hits satellites and destroys satellites.
Oh, yeah.
In other words, it not only hits it, if it doesn't hit your satellite, it hits enemy satellites and knocks them
Yeah.
up.
Either way, that's a bad idea. Maybe we just shouldn't throw stuff away out
You're
in the
not
nether.
you're not supposed to. It's against international law. I learned this from a friend of mine who's in the Defense Department.
Interesting. But yet they do it anyway.
There are other enemy countries that have done this to us.
Right.
Yeah. Which makes me wonder why we're doing it. Last month, though, it says in a surprising move, Boeing and the U.S. Space Force actually revealed. Oh, I read that part. The announcement was unusual because very little is typically ever offered about the X-37B and what it's doing in space. Now, Boeing has even gone so far as to publish a video providing more details about the aerobraking procedure, how it works, and why the vehicle needs to perform it. When we aerobrake, we utilize atmospheric drag to effectively step down our apogee one pass at a time until we get to the orbital regime that we want to be in. Boeing's John Ely explained in the video. When we do this, we save enormous amounts of propellant, and that's why that's really why aerobraking is important. Okay. Perhaps unsurprisingly, though, neither the announcement nor the video provide any specific details regarding the X-37B's current mission objectives in Earth's orbit. Instead, its purpose is simply described as advancing our nation's space capabilities by testing new technologies that reduce risk and inform our future space architectures. Sounds like doublespeak for never mind what we're doing up there. Just look the other way.
Right. Look away. Never mind the man behind the curtain.
Nothing to see here. So, and finally, Jess, speaking of doublespeak, we have double entendres before we go to break.
Ooh.
You ready for this?
Yes.
A new study finds that extraterrestrial life could be thriving near Uranus.
I thought there was something going on down there, but I wasn't quite sure what it was, Tim.
See? Yep. Scientists now believe that a small moon orbiting Uranus, just didn't know that, may be capable of harboring primitive alien life forms.
Wow.
I'd known that there was some weight gain recently, but I didn't know it was enough to harbor a small moon.
Uranus is hopping.
Right. Did you know you were attracting small alien life around Uranus?
No, it sounds like I have parasites.
You haven't heard the cat calls? I'm just saying. No.
As a farm kid, I instantly think of pinworms.
Oh, right. See, you're bringing the farm into this, and
I ruin it all. I ruin everything.
Yeah, I was trying to go with cat calling aliens, and you went straight to pinworms.
Yeah, here you're like, oh, it's sexy. And I'm like, ew, worms in my butthole, itchy.
Worms in my butthole.
Never fun. You can only see them at night when you're sleeping.
Wow. Now,
They only come out at night, Tim.
how did you learn this?
We had worms on our farm. I didn't have them, but my cousin did. And the way that you confirm that you have them or your child has them is you go look while they're sleeping.
Wait, your cousin had pinworms?
Yeah, sure did. It was nasty.
And how do you who pulls the short straw to check your cousin's butthole? That's what I want to know.
His dad, not me. But we were all like, what? Really? Are there worms in there? Sure enough.
Do you wear the little head flashlight to go in there and check, or is it a manual deal?
Of course. Yeah, wear the little head flashlight. Look in there.
Little miner helmet.
You need two hands,
Oh!
Spread the butt cheeks.
Spread the butt cheeks apart.
Oh.
Is there a
salve? We should probably just talk about aliens.
A salve or a cream you gotta put on there? Or?
Oh, I think, you just take a pill and you just deworm yourself.
Oh, okay. So there's no manipulation or manual deal that needs to be done there?
No, you just say, ooh, put those underwear back on and go to the doctor the next day and get a little pill.
Okay, thank God. Thank God there's no further.
Sorry, folks. I'm not sure how we got here.
I hope no one's listening during lunch. That's what that's someone's eating a ham sandwich right now. That's the end of it.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Anyways, where were we? We were talking about moons.
Uranus?
Yes. We were talking about moons over Miami. It seems that there could yet be another subsurface ocean of liquid water in the solar system, with Miranda, a moon of Uranus, joining the ranks alongside Jupiter's Europa and Saturn's Enceladus, promising places to look for evidence of extraterrestrial life. One of our solar system's most unusual moons, Miranda, I think I dated her in college, which was photographed by the Voyager 2 spacecraft back in the 1980s, has a surface covered in strange grooves and unusual patterns thought to be indicative of tidal forces and internal heating. The story just keeps getting more interesting.
Yes.
It does. By revisiting these images and attempting to reverse engineer the processes that could have produced such a surface, scientists were able to determine that Miranda could very well have a substance ocean of liquid water, or at least did have one several 100 million years ago. This hidden ocean could be around 62 miles deep and hidden beneath 19 miles of thick, icy crust. You know what would warm Miranda up?
What's that, Tim?
A little foreplay. Just saying. Incredibly, Miranda itself is relatively tiny with a radius of just 146 miles, meaning that such an ocean would make up almost half of its entire body. We won't know for sure that it even has an ocean until we go back and collect more data, said co-author Tom Nordheim, a planetary scientist from the Johns Hopkins Applied Physics Laboratory. We're squeezing the last bit of science we can from Voyager 2's images. For now, we're excited by the possibilities and eager to return to study Uranus and its potential ocean moons in depth. What a line to end that story. We're just eager to study Uranus.
Everyone is.
Hopefully,
People are knocking down my door to study my anus. Oh, wait, no, that's Uranus.
not mine. Nobody checking my back door for anything, I'll tell you that much. All right, when we come back, a famous rapper says killer robots are on the way. We'll actually check in with somebody who says they worked on a paranormal reality show, but what they saw off camera really terrified them. Everybody claims they know what happens on these shows, but nobody really knows. We'll find out if this person really knew. That's coming up after the break. What happens if you die in a dream? And is it possible that you could die in real life? We'll explore that myth and if it's a reality. Science claims they knows. They knows. Listen to my English.
He knows.
They knows if they knows, and they knows, and we'll find out after the break. A 25-foot hump creature was filmed moving across the surface of Loch Ness. We'll tell you about that. Turns out the FBI at once tested Bigfoot hair samples. We've got the results coming up after the break. And finally, in the final story of today's supernatural news, 43 monkeys got loose from a research facility in South Carolina, but did they all get away? We'll tell you about it right after the break. It's all coming up right here on Supernatural News and Parashare on the best in paranormal podcasting. This is Darkness Radio. Welcome back to the best in paranormal podcasting. This is Darkness Radio. I'm your host, Tim Dennis. Right over there, my co-host, Jessica Freeburg. Jess, it's getting colder outside.
Oh, it is.
Which means only one thing. Baseball's over. Football is in full swing. The leaves are off the trees.
Yes.
Christmas is coming. Are you excited for Christmas, by the way?
I love Christmas. It's my favorite.
Yeah?
Yeah. I'm going to put my tree up soon. I think before Thanksgiving, even. I've decided.
That's sacrilege. Really?
I know. I know. I think we're going to do it, though. My kids are excited about it. So
you're in the Mariah Carey camp, which Christmas comes right after Halloween?
Well, I'm holding my daughter back. I mean, we've already watched like 4 Christmas movies.
What?
Yeah. I'm going to put my tree up soon. I think before Thanksgiving, even.
That's sacrilege. Really?
What? Yeah, she's into it, man. She's making cookies in here the other day while she was watching Christmas baking cook-off challenge or something like that. And then we had to go straight to the Griswold Christmas, and it was Home Alone. She's already seen Home Alone 1, 2, and 3, both of all of those more than once this year.
You need
Like
to
she's obsessed.
sit her down and say, "This is a pilgrim," and we have this little thing called Thanksgiving, and it's
Yes.
a day of football and turkey, and we need to stop for this little holiday right here, and appreciate.
Yeah, I used to decorate for Thanksgiving, but my
I
kids get so jazzed about Christmas that I don't even get that stuff out anymore.
I used to get jazz for Charlie Brown Thanksgiving.
Oh, so good.
That was my deal. I used to look forward
Yeah.
to seeing that every year.
Yeah. Why don't we have those Charlie Brown specials anymore? We don't have the Halloween one either. That was my favorite.
Well, they
The
they
Great Pumpkin.
they do on Apple TV.
Yeah, but I mean, it used to be like on regular TV. Everybody got a chance. You didn't have to have a subscription.
Well, it's because Apple bought the rights.
Darn it, Apple.
Yeah.
They buy everything,
CBS got lazy. They didn't want to shell out the money.
I suppose.
See, that's one of the things that makes me happy. Charlie Brown specials.
Me too. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm with you.
Yeah. When they go in, they don't quite make the dinner, but it's like toast and jelly beans and
Hmm.
yeah. Yeah. In fact, that's what I want for Thanksgiving dinner this year. Toast and jelly beans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come on over. I'll make you that. Toast and jelly beans.
Toast and jelly beans. And then uh, will you play the piano and I'll dance like this?
I will. I've got a piano right behind me. It's
See right
ready.
there.
Yeah, you can even sit on top of it. I mean, it's not a grand
I'll,
piano, but
I'll break it. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. I don't think I
I'll
can.
have a, I'll have a hoedown in here. I've got a couple guitars. Do you know how to play guitar?
The only hoedown will be me after I try dancing for 5 minutes. Yeah, and my bad foot will give out, and you'll have to call an ambulance. I'm sure.
Yeah, that's a different kind of hoedown.
Yeah, that's a different kind of hoedown.
We got a hoedown.
Yeah. You got a hoedown.
Send a medic.
You call the 911. They'll be like, "I got a hoedown." I'll be like, "Oh, Tim tried dancing again, right? Yeah, we'll come get him." It's just too bad he went down on
Yeah,
a holiday.
but the weather's changing. It's
Yeah,
changing and I like it.
yeah, yeah. I despise January, February.
Ugh. The cold weather here gets too long. I love it when it starts. You love that first snow.
Yeah, yeah,
But about a month later, I'm like, and when you start walking outside and your nose hairs freeze,
yeah.
too cold.
It is. It's so wonderful. It makes me so happy. I said the word happy. I shouldn't have done that. See, the minute you say happy, the AI comes in with the music and then it brings Skynet in, and it's never a good thing. I probably shouldn't have done that. Whenever you do that, then you got to talk about killer robots.
Mm, yeah.
One other guy who's talking about killer robots is Ice-T.
No way.
Yeah, Ice-T is all
I love me a little iced tea.
Yeah, Ice-T's concerned about killer robots. He's saying that killer robots will take over the world and eat us all.
Well,
I'm glad that Ice-T and I see things like this, right? That we're on the same page. I mean, not only do I watch him every Thursday on the Law and Order SVU, but but now we see eye to eye on killer robots.
same brain. You and iced tea, same brain.
Same brain, right? I mean, we both know the lyrics to 6 in the morning. Right? I mean, it's like we share the same. The future isn't looking very bright, but according to rapper Ice-T, who has shared his fears that we won't be able to stop technology coming to eat us as it gets more advanced. Rapper Ice-T says robots will soon take over the world and end up eating us. Can you believe that Ice-T is 66 years old already?
No, I cannot. That's crazy.
66-year-old original gangster singer, born Gracie Lauren Marrow, named Ice-T, said there was no way humans could stop tech now. music legend and actor who starred as. Really, that's what Tuaala's first name is Odafin? Odafin Tuaala? And I didn't know that either.
I've just learned something new.
Been watching all these years, I didn't know what his first name was. In Law and Order's Special Victims Unit is more than 450 episodes in, said the future was not going to be happy. I love the fact that he's so down on the future. He asked about
Sad.
when he was asked about artificial intelligence tech like chatbots and robots and whether government should limit development, he said, "We didn't stand a chance." God, I love the fact that he's so negative about this. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. The rapper said, "I don't think there's anything we can do to stop technology coming to eat us." He said, basically, I think he's thinking we're Thanksgiving Day turkey for.
That's so weird. Why are they going to eat us?
I don't know. I don't know where the eat us comes from. AI doesn't have teeth, first of all, but
It doesn't digest. It doesn't need, I mean, that's the beauty of AI. It needs nothing.
right. Maybe a little bit of oil, but that's about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Certainly doesn't need food.
yeah, electricity. He said, "Have you ever seen a movie about the future where it was happy?" That's a good,
No, he's right there.
yeah, very dystopian stuff. Experts predict that robots will overtake the number of humans by 2050, with around 10 billion androids compared to 9 billion humans in just 26 years' time. A poll of 1,500 IT boffins by online privacy from Atlas VPN recently found that 49% said they reckoned robots would destroy mankind and end up ruling the world. Futurologist Ian Pearson, a fellow of the British Computer Society, said recently that strong AI needed to be held back if we wanted to stop a robot takeover. He said, "If we were to develop a very strong AI, I think it would be very risky. We would be trusting in luck at the machine. In luck that the machine doesn't want to take over the world and doesn't want to kill us all." In 2023, another rapper, Busta Rhymes. See,
Yeah.
we're getting the rap perspective of things today. I'm so
On
glad.
the old school rap, like
Yeah,
the good classic.
yeah. It's like Dave Chappelle says, "Fuck that. I want to know what Ja Rule thinks when it comes to world
Exactly.
events." Right now,
Yes.
I want to know what rappers think about AI. Uh,
Yep.
2023 rapper Busta Rhymes warned that tech would take over the planet, saying AI would eventually get to a place where it would say, pardon my language here, Jess, would say, "Fuck the humans."
Oh, it's not nice.
No, it's not nice, but pertinent. In 2021, TV's Adrian Chiles, never heard of him, said he reckoned robots would eventually rip us limb from limb. The former One Show and Match of the Day 2 presenter, must be a British thing, said the fear of artificially intelligent beings turning on us, be it taking all our jobs off us or tearing us limb from limb, or both, is widely held. I think it will happen. Actually, I saw a video. It was today, as a matter of fact. It's a common one on TikTok of an electrician,
Yeah.
an African American gentleman, who says he's worked for Samsung. He's worked for what was it? Samsung, TikTok. He's worked for different outfits, but he's now working for Tesla, and he's very Blair Witch. He's right up in the camera, right?
Ooh,
And
yeah.
he's like right up in the camera. He's like, "You got to beware. You got to beware. I work for Tesla right now, and they're working us 7 12-hour shifts a week." So evidently he's working, what would that be, 84 hours a week right now?
What?
Right. And he
I
said,
don't believe him. He would be fired if he was out there saying that in the public. First of all, Tesla would not keep him employed.
well, he said he's working for, as he called him, Shelon Tusk, because he couldn't say his name, right?
Oh,
They called him Shelon Tusk. And he said, Shelon Tusk has us working 7 12-hour shifts a week nonstop to make these robots. And when they put the AI in the robots, he said they're going to take all your jobs. They're set up to take over nursing jobs and fast food jobs and all these different jobs. And none of y'all are going to have jobs. So he said, all your jobs are going to be wiped out. So he said, essentially, nobody will have jobs and y'all will be sitting at home and nobody, that's it.
so we get to retire.
I don't think there's an upside to this, Jess.
Hmm.
You're like, we get to
Trying to be
retire. On
glass half full, Tim.
what? They're going to wipe out all the retirement programs
Yeah, I don't know. Let's just move to an island and
and eat
not
coconut.
worry about it. Yeah, eat coconuts, have some fish. We're gonna be so healthy. We running on the beach every day. That's great exercise.
I could finally have a monkey for a best friend.
Yes, absolutely. You can sleep with a monkey every night.
I don't want to sleep with them. I mean,
I mean, not in a perverted way,
no. I just want a monkey
but you
for
can
best.
snuggle with it. It'll be your buddy.
Yeah, I just want a monkey best friend. That's all.
No processed foods. I mean, we're gonna be so healthy. It's crazy. It's
Right.
happening. What island are we going to?
I don't know.
Maybe one that nobody knows of yet.
Yeah, it'll have to be an undisclosed island. Everybody's
Yeah.
gonna like put dibs on Hawaii and stuff like that. You don't want one that's populated.
No, we don't want one where there's any technology. No technology, just coconuts, fish,
Monkeys,
white sand beaches, and monkeys.
beaches.
Hmm.
Think we can get one with a slushy machine?
Yeah, I think so. See,
Yeah.
everything's going to be fine. See how I just did that? You're happy again.
I am happy again. Look at that. See? Just saying. The one thing that AI will have that we won't have on the desert island there, Jess, is deep fake porn. See how I did that? See how I brought it half circle
You
right back to
brought it right back.
yeah, I brought it right back to desperation and despair. Wasn't that fun?
Oh, I feel like I'm in a roller coaster.
Yeah, it's like, oh, look, really great times. Oh, shitty times. See, I did that. Uh, AI means anyone can be a victim of deep fake porn. CNN is telling us how we can protect ourselves this week.
Oh, how? How can we protect ourselves? I do not want to be
You don't want to be
featured person in deepfake porn.
you don't want to be splashed out there in the digital world. This deep fake porn. I would be horrified if somebody put my big ass out there.
Oh, yeah.
It's me and my monkey that I'm going to be out on the island with, and we're out there like, right? It would just be horrible. Me and Mr. Peepers, my monkey, doing horrible stuff together.
This is taking a weird turn.
It has taken a weird turn. It says here, all we have to have is just a human form to be a victim. That's how lawyer Carrie Goldberg describes the risk of deepfake porn, the age of artificial intelligence. So monkeys are safe. That's how I'm reading it.
I think so.
And Mr. Beepers is safe.
Yeah. He's safe, but you're not.
I'm not. Well, revenge porn is for the non-consensual sharing of sexual images has been around for nearly as long as the internet. The proliferation of AI tools means that anyone could be targeted by this form of harassment, even if they're never taken or sent a nude photo. Artificial intelligence tools can now superimpose a person's face onto a nude body or manipulate existing photos to make it look as if a person is not wearing clothes. In the past year, targets of AI-generated non-consensual pornographic images have ranged from prominent women like Taylor Swift and Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez to high school girls. For someone discovering that they or their child have been made the subject of deepfake porn, the experience is typically scary and overwhelming, said Goldberg, who runs the New York-based firm C.A. Goldberg Law, representing victims of sex crimes and online harassment, especially if they're young and they don't know how to cope, and the internet is this big, huge, nebulous place, she said. But there are steps that targets of this form of harassment can take to protect themselves and places to turn for help. Goldberg told the reporter of this article in an interview on CNN's new tech podcast, Terms of Service with Claire Duffy. Terms of Service aims to demystify the new and emerging technologies that listeners encounter in their daily lives. Goldberg said that for people targeted by AI-generated sexual images, the first step, however counterintuitive, should be to screenshot them.
Oh, yeah.
So take a picture of the bad thing. I don't know
Take
why.
take the picture of you doing something horrifying.
Take the
Okay.
picture of you, of your horrifying image of yourself as a deep fake.
And save it on your laptop or your phone.
It's probably the best you
Okay.
ever look. No, I don't know what that means. The
Just
knee
put my face on a rockin' body, okay? That's all I ask. Just put my face on some young woman with a rockin' bod.
me too. Put my face on a rocking young woman's bod. That's all I have. Now watch, someone's gonna do that and send it to me by email.
Oh
You
no.
freaking pervs. I don't know. The knee-jerk reaction is to get this off the internet as soon as possible, Goldberg said. But if you want to be able to have the option of reporting it criminally, you need the evidence. That's why you take a screenshot.
True.
Next, they can seek out the forms that platforms like Google, Meta, and Snapchat provide to request removal of explicit images. Nonprofit organizations like StopNCII.org and Take It Down can also help facilitate the removal of such images across multiple platforms at once, although not all sites cooperate with the groups. A bipartisan group of senators sent an open letter in August calling on nearly a dozen tech firms, including X and Discord, to join the programs. The fight to address non-consensual explicit images and deepfakes have received rare bipartisan support. A group of teens and parents who had been affected by AI-generated porn testified at a hearing on Capitol Hill, where Republican Senator Ted Cruz introduced a bill supported by Democratic Senator Amy Klobuchar and others that would make it a crime to publish such images and require social media platforms to remove them upon notice from victims. But for now, victims are left to navigate a patchwork of state laws. In some places, there are no criminal laws preventing the creation and sharing of explicit deepfakes of adults. AI-generated sexual images of children typically fall under child sexual abuse material laws. The quote here is, "My proactive advice is really to the would-be offenders, which is just like, don't be a total scum of the earth and try to steal a person's image and use it for humiliation," Goldberg said. "There's not much that victims can do to prevent this. We can never be fully safe in a digital society, but it's kind of up to one another to not totally or be total a-holes," is what she went on to say. So there you go.
Yeah, there should be laws against it and punishments and all of that kind of stuff. I mean,
I
it really can ruin someone's life,
Yeah, I believe so. And I
in
believe
all fairness.
they should be punished quite heavily.
Yeah, I think so too. Serious stuff. They think it's funny, but it's not.
No, it's not. It's one of those things that's a severe infringement on someone's rights.
Yeah.
That's for sure. Let's move on, Jess. I get this quite often and I get it a lot from people who have no idea what it's like to be on a paranormal television set. They seem to
Hmm.
think they know exactly what it's like. I know when this is fake. In fact, I run into it 3 times this past week where someone goes, "I know for a fact that this TV show is fake. I know what they're doing is fake." And they're upset and they want to vent to me about it.
Okay.
Okay, I get where you're frustrated with something that someone's done on a TV show where you disagree with what they're doing. But the fact that you think you know it's fake, I'll disagree with you. And then I'll tell them why I disagree with them. A lot of it has to do with you weren't there.
Right.
You weren't on set. How do you know someone faked something? You don't. You may disagree with their research. You may disagree with the way somebody filmed something. And you may disagree
Right.
with the evidence or the way it was shot. You know, maybe they shot something to you which looks sketchy, and it may not appear on film the way that it appeared live, which has
Hmm.
happened quite a bit.
Right.
Like something happened to them live, and didn't come through on film the way it should have. And it looks sketchy, right? But to them, it happened when it happened in real time. It was a real phenomenon and it didn't translate to film. And it came through kind of like a popcorn fart. It just didn't come through, right?
Yeah, right.
Um, but to sit and say that you know for sure that that's nothing. It's a big nothing burger, and that they fake stuff is just, to me, it's cringeworthy.
Yeah. I honestly, I feel like they don't fake stuff. I think sometimes they might react a lot, like maybe more than we would react if we're ghost hunting just you and I, like because you have to have reaction to translate onto to a show to be interesting. But I've never seen a show where I've ever thought something was straight up faked.
Now I know some producers want to hype certain things up, like they want to elevate music, they want to elevate certain elements to make things scary.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. To add those little bits and pieces in to
Right.
make it more thrilling.
But I'll throw this right back in the viewer's lap. It's because you guys want to push the envelope. You want entertainment value to your show. You keep wanting results. And let's face it, we can't make a show called 4 Hours in the Dark because you never watch it.
Right. Yeah. I've been approached multiple times about reality shows, and my biggest thing that will make it so I'm probably never going to be on one is that I am honest, I don't want it to be scary. I don't want people to feel afraid of the dark and ghosts. I want to empower people. And so like that's the opposite of what people want to watch when they're watching
Yeah.
a ghost hunting show. They want to be scared.
And it'll never get made. Same reason why
No.
on a fishing show, you'll never have a fishing show where it's just two guys sitting in a boat waiting for a fish to hit the hook. It's always constant strikes and guys hitting big fish and monster fish hitting the hook. You never see a little sunfish hitting a hook on a fishing show.
And so much of the best paranormal evidence that you get in an investigation is personal experience. And so I get it. Like that's hard to translate on camera. People don't, they're not feeling it with you. But so much of the greatest experiences that we've had ghost hunting has been when people have felt things happening to them or heard a whisper in their ear and you don't necessarily catch that on camera. Well, if you think people are trying to be dramatic for camera, then you might think they're faking it, but I
Right,
guess I believe them. If I feel that there's integrity in what they're doing.
right. Well, there was an article that came out on Halloween in the Huffington Post. It was titled, I worked on a paranormal reality show, but what I saw off camera really terrified me. I'll try to hit the highlights here. Essentially, this person says, we've all been there. You're channel surfing on a lazy Saturday afternoon when suddenly you land upon a green night vision scene showcasing a group of ghost hunters. But what, if anything, is real? And what's just TV hocus pocus? It says, shows that I'm talking about. Television is currently flooded with series that feature ordinary folks sharing their supposedly supernatural encounters or investigators camping out at a haunted location in hopes of finally capturing something irrefutable or real on camera. Several months ago, while scrolling through a casting website, I found a call for actors to reenact a paranormal encounter. I've done a few acting jobs before, but nothing like this. Still, I figured, why not give it a go? So I sent over my photos and acting reel. All in all, it was a relatively painless process. I emailed back and forth and chatted on the phone a few times with the casting directors. And because they would be shooting the reenactments with no lines, there was no need for me to audition. My reel was enough. Within a month, I was confirmed for a gig on a well-known network for one of television's longest-running paranormal reality shows. I was stoked, as I have long been a fan of these types of shows. Growing up, my grandma raised me on a healthy dose of unsolved mysteries and midnight radio. Pair that with the fact that my childhood home stood on the grounds of a former asylum for the mentally ill, and you have the perfect ingredients to create a paranormal fanatic. While the validity, let me do that again. While the validity of what happens on some of these shows is somewhat questionable, to say the least, they are undeniably entertaining. And sure, they can even be a bit hokey at times, but I still love them. They're also a ratings goldmine for the networks, and in turn drive an entire industry of paranormal fanfare and conventions. Though I was excited to book my role when it came to ghosts, I consider myself a skeptical believer. As open as I am to the realm of supernatural and what may lie on the other side, I'm very grounded in my beliefs. I'm never going to hear a creaking floorboard and immediately jump to the conclusion that it was caused by Casper and his buddies. I want to see convincing evidence, but I'm also open to the idea that some things are beyond our comprehension. On the day of the shoot, I drove to where the show was filming in upstate New York. I thought I was headed to stand in haunted house or television. I thought I was headed to a stand-in haunted house or a television set, but my GPS directed me down a long gravel driveway flanked by overgrown cattails. As I pulled down the narrow drive, a decrepit farmhouse with patches of aged siding and chipped trim came into view. When I laid eyes on the eerie two-story structure, I thought to myself, wow, what a brilliant production design. But little did I know this was no set. Production was filming the reenactment segments at the actual house being featured on the show, the real haunted house. Going into the shoot, the producers disclosed the title of the series pretty early on. I had heard of the show, but it had been a long time since I watched it. Still, I didn't realize the particular program filmed the reenactments at the locations where the events actually took place. And while I was ready, as I could be for my scenes, I wasn't ready for what I'd encounter at the house that day. When I arrived, one of the show's producers quickly greeted me and walked me to a tent in the front yard where the cast and crew could camp between takes. There I met the homeowners, and they shared a bit of the property's rich and deeply disturbing history, as well as a few of their own personal paranormal experiences. Several children supposedly passed away on the property after experiencing various accidents. As if that's not dark enough, an expectant mother reportedly hung herself from a tree in the front yard, and an alleged serial killer is said to have once resided in the home. Nearly a dozen bodies have been unearthed in the backyard alone. However, it's unknown exactly how many souls claim the surrounding swampland as their final resting place. The inhabitants of the house say they've seen unexplained shadows and heard disembodied voices and even growls. They claim an angry spirit, who lives on the second floor of the house, has also made his presence abundantly clear. The family's priest, who was present during filming that day, recalled a time an unseen force assaulted him on the staircase inside the house and left a scratch on his arm. Because we were filming at the very location where the entity allegedly harmed him, he voiced his concern for the cast and crew who were shooting inside the home. But it was this piece of advice he gave us that sent shivers down my spine. Make sure nothing follows you home. He explained that it's common for a spirit to trail someone from a haunted site. Basically, you visited them at their house, so now it's their turn to visit yours. I didn't want to experience that, and neither did any of the other cast or crew. The priest claimed that in order to avoid a spirit following you off the premises, you simply had to speak aloud something along the lines of, if there is anything following me, you're not welcome here. Go away. The tactic apparently worked for him, or at least he said it did. So I figured I'd give it a try when I left. I mean, better safe than sorry, right? My scenes weren't until after lunch, so as everything else was filming, I wandered outside and decided to explore the barn that was adjacent to the house. As I entered the empty structure, I heard what sounded like someone walking on the tin roof of the barn. I rushed outside to see if there was someone on the roof, but I didn't see anyone. It would have been impossible to climb to the top of the barn without a ladder, and there wasn't one. And besides, everyone else was inside the house shooting a scene. I was spooked, especially considering why I was on the property in the first place. But I also wasn't convinced that what I had heard was really footsteps. I returned to the production tent, and the homeowners joined me not long afterward. They showed me their spirit box, a piece of ghost hunting equipment that looks similar to a radio. The spirit box supposedly picks up frequencies that cannot be heard by the human ear and makes them audible. And some paranormal researchers claim it allows them to communicate with the dead. The homeowners proceeded to ask the box if there were any spirits present. Almost immediately, a robotic voice replied yes. When they asked the entity to reveal its location, the box said, "In the barn." My heart immediately skipped a beat. One of the homeowners then told me they believed a friendly spirit lived in the barn. They called him Tin Man, as he was frequently heard walking on the barn's tin roof. My jaw dropped. Did the footsteps I had just heard belong to Tin Man? I had no way of being sure, so I decided to keep it to myself. But before I could even complete the process my thoughts, the director told me it was time to get into costume. See, getting into costume to me, okay, so there's reenactments to this thing. I understand that.
Right.
But the whole getting into costume thing kind of throws me for a bit of a loop. So how many different
Just,
shows are there that actually reenact?
Are you trying to figure out which show he's talking about?
Yeah.
I mean,
I mean,
I
pretty
feel
much.
like a lot of them do if they're not like the ghost hunting shows, right? If they're just like the ghost story shows, there's a lot of those out there.
Okay. Yeah. He says, I was presented with a mostly black wardrobe consisting of dark jeans, a work shirt, and a fedora, and I quickly changed in my car. Ah, the glamorous world of television. I didn't know much about my role or what I'd be doing. See, I don't buy that either. Most everybody gets a script if they're doing reenactments.
That's true. And I'm thinking like even the ghost hunting shows sometimes at the beginning when they're sharing the history,
Mhm.
they will have little clips that are real short of like little reenactments.
See,
Videos like,
anybody who works on these shows knows that you everything's very tight. You have, if you're doing reenactments, you have a
Mhm.
script, you know exactly what you're doing, you have a mark, you know, it's bing bing bing
Right.
bing, you don't lose light, everything is as it should be. I'd only been told that I'd be playing a menacing looking spirit for the reenactment segments. I hadn't received a script ahead of time because I didn't have any lines to memorize, and I was told that my blocking would be explained to me on set. I didn't even know which spirit I was going to be playing, but when I returned to the tent, the homeowners saw my fedora and immediately knew. Oh, you're playing him. Him? I reluctantly asked. They told me about the spirit the man who supposedly occupies the top floor of the house was. They claimed he was by far the darkest spirit that resided in the house, and they believed him to be the one who attacked the priest on the stairs. He also allegedly had attacked another visitor at the house by throwing a heavy can of food at his head. Great. I was playing the man who turned out to be the most evil spirit in the house, and on his turf nonetheless. After the homeowners revealed this information to me, the rest of the cast and crew came outside for lunch. As we were eating, something caught my eye on the second story of the house. I suddenly noticed a curtain in a window begin to move as if someone was slowly peeling it back. I immediately thought it was unusual because, as far as I knew, no one was upstairs, and it was a particularly still summer day. I continued to intently watch the curtain when a crew member noticed my gaze. She asked if there was anyone up there, and the director confirmed that everyone was outside. Someone asked if a fan might be running in that room, but due to the silence that's required for filming, all the fans in the home had been shut off. One of the homeowners noted that it was probably him, and before anyone could say another word, the curtain pulled back once again, and a ghoulish face stared directly at us. There he is, she said matter of factly. She had lived in the home most of her life, so she claimed to have grown up with this sort of activity. And to her, it was almost commonplace. I, on the other hand, was fully trembling at this point. The curtain dropped back into place and he was gone as soon as he appeared. I couldn't believe what I had just witnessed. I just saw a ghost, or at least what I believed to be a ghost, and he appeared to be watching me. My pulse was racing. The entity was only in view for a second, and you would have to have focused on the window at the right moment to see it. But I was certain someone had been looking out that window. I couldn't take my eyes off the spot where I had just seen his face. Several other people present also claimed to have seen him or something in the window. And the homeowner seemed almost a little excited that he decided to make a quick cameo. I was less than enthused. I immediately tried to find a way to explain what I'd seen. Uh, I wondered if it could have been a reflection of some sort, but the outline was so distinct and the curtain movement was very obvious. It had all happened in a way that made it difficult to rationalize or discredit. I knew that I was filming at least some of my scenes in the house, and after hearing all the stories and having experienced what I had just experienced, I really didn't want to go inside. But I had already signed a contract, everyone was ready to shoot, and I didn't feel I could back out at that point. Plus, the crew had been filming inside all morning and nothing had happened to any of them, so I hoped I'd be okay. The director, who didn't see the man in the window or have much time to entertain the sighting, began to organize the crew to shoot my upcoming scene. Before I knew it, it was time to head inside. My stomach began to churn as I entered the house for the first time. Old photos lined the wood-paneled walls. The temperature was scorching, and the production lights didn't help with the heat either. Even though it was a bright and sunny day outside, the inside was eerily dark. I slowly walked up the stairs and into the second-floor loft, where I immediately locked my eyes onto the curtain that I had seen him or something peering through moments before. As the director and camera crew reviewed the storyboards, I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being watched. A creepy doll sat in the corner, and I couldn't tell what belonged in the house and what was a prop lugged in by the crew to set the scene. As it turns out, everything was original to the home, and I felt seriously uneasy in that second-floor room. We spent what seemed like hours upstairs, but we only filmed one scene there. The rest of my scenes were in other parts of the house and outside. Needless to say, I was happy when we finished filming upstairs and I could finally leave that room. When the director called my wrap, immediately I hopped into my car and left. Remembering the priest's advice, I spoke aloud, "If there's anything following me home, you're not welcome." As I pulled away from the property, I wasn't convinced it would do anything, or that there was even anything that needed to be done. But I definitely didn't want to wake up and find him standing at the foot of my bed. Driving home late that night, I found myself continuously checking my rearview mirror to ensure that there was nothing or no one in my back seat. My mind raced as I replayed what happened in my brain, or rather, my mind raced as I replayed what happened in the barn and what I saw in the second floor window, and I was legitimately spooked by what I had experienced that day. Even writing about my experience now has my adrenaline pumping through my veins. Some might think that my experience would deter me from considering other or any more paranormal adventures, but if anything, that day only added fuel to my curiosity about the supernatural. As freaked out as I was, I'm now equally, if not more, intrigued. Before doing the project, I always wondered if the real haunted houses in these reality shows were actually real. What I've learned is that experience truly can shape perspective. Was it the environment I interacted with and the stories I was told while filming that caused me to hear and see certain things? Maybe, but after my day at the house, I believe what I experienced can't be easily debunked. Still, what makes so many of these shows and these kinds of experiences in general so frustrating is that there's no smoking gun that ever fully proves the existence of the paranormal. I find myself replaying that day over and over in hopes of finding a way to explain away what happened, or maybe to finally and truly convince myself that I really did see a ghost that day. Interesting article. There's one more art, or one more little paragraph here where he says, "I completely understand if other people don't believe in the supernatural. And I'm sure some people reading this are already looking for ways to punch holes in my story, and that's completely okay. It's hard for me even to believe. And I was there. Ultimately, I hope people can agree to keep an open mind because there's so much in this world and beyond it that we can't explain. And until we can, I'm going to keep wondering and keep looking for explanations whenever and wherever I can find them." And Alex Aronson is the name of the man who wrote the article. Um, Interesting article, right?
Yeah, that's quite the story. I mean, personally, I believe that we probably did have a paranormal encounter. I would think that when you're filming in a location and you're talking about the spirit, why wouldn't it be curious and show up?
I think it's a strong article in that most people who write, I was on a paranormal set and it was all bullshit, right? I mean, that's the first.
Right.
How many articles have you seen that say that, right?
Yeah.
Or I was looking for something and I think I found it, that it can't be real. But this guy stepped onto a set and said, you know what? There was no shenanigans and I think I saw something.
Yeah. I mean, I tend to believe experiencers anyway. Like, I typically err on the side of believing that people had an experience because there's so much ridicule associated with it. People are always, like he said, he's sure people are going to be poking holes in the story because that's what people do. You can't win. If you have a paranormal experience and you share it, people are going to poo-poo it and try to find a way to say that it didn't happen. That's just how it works.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
I don't think there's a lot of benefit for him to gain from making that up.
No, no. It's just impressive that it came out in a major publication. That's for sure.
Yeah, I love that. Such a good story.
Yeah. Let's move on. Another ghost story here. A ghost is caught on a Ring doorbell in chilling detail as a mysterious orb glides across a kitchen in Preston. We're going across the pond, I believe. Ring doorbells might be designed to spot physical intruders, but that doesn't stop the high-tech devices from capturing some of Britain's strangest supernatural trespassers with terrifying detail. This was taken before Halloween. Ring has released footage of paranormal activity captured by members of the public. In one haunting video, a ghost orb is spotted on camera as it drifts across a Preston kitchen. Rebecca Reeves, who submitted the footage from her kitchen, says she thinks the spectral apparition could be a deceased relative dropping in to say hello. She says, I think it's an orb. Oh boy. With the way it glides in the room, Miss Reeves said. I didn't feel uneasy about it because I'm not really sure what it is. I did look online about orbs and their nature and didn't really read anything negative about them. So that did make me think maybe it's a relative keeping an eye on our pet dog, uh, Albus, while we popped out. Or it could be dust and you just need to clean your home. Yvette Fielding, former star of Most Haunted, partnered with Ring to reveal the most haunted homes around the country. In the clip chosen by Ms. Fielding as the spookiest of all, footage from a Ring camera shows the interior of a kitchen. The camera then captures the moment of a silvery orb, which appears to emerge from nowhere and drift towards the camera before fading away. Although Ms. Reeves says she's not concerned about the presence of a floating orb in the kitchen, she also notes that the potential haunting could be having other effects. I do suffer with sleep paralysis at times, she goes on to say, so I never know if it's that's causing me to experience things such as the feel of something or someone being in the room with me or feeling like someone is sat on the end of the bed, she said. In another video, which was selected as runner-up, the Ring camera footage shows what appears to be another orb drifting. Dawn Gallagher, who shares the video of her Glasgow home, says that she noticed the activity after the mysterious orb set off the camera's movement notification. This was the first time we have caught anything paranormal in our Ring devices, said Ms. Gallagher. To us and everyone I've shown the video to, it looks like a white orb with a trail. At the time, my partner Alex and I were quite shocked as it didn't look like an insect. Even though these clips might not seem that shocking, Ms. Fielding says they could be a sign of more activity to come. The light anomalies caught on the Ring devices are interesting, she explained. The fact that there is only one on its own in each video makes this footage fascinating, as it could be the first stage of a ghost manifestation and worthy of further investigations. It does say that many skeptics would naturally call these conclusions into question. I tell you what, we'll post this one in the description of the program. We'll let you judge for yourself. I like to do that.
I like it when you do that, 'cause then we can see it.
There you go. There you go. I'm also going to, because we're running a little short on time, I have an article here about whether you can really dine with a ghost at a New Jersey restaurant. Uh,
Ooh.
NJ.com went spirit hunting at a restaurant in New Jersey. And the article is really quite fascinating about this particular restaurant in New Jersey. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to post this article in the description of our show today as well. So, you can go to nj.com and you can actually check out um, this restaurant in New Jersey, especially you paranormal investigators out there, and you can check out what it's like to ghost hunt this particular restaurant. It's quite impressive. So a little extra tour for you. And I tell you what, I might actually put it up in the blog too at darknessradioshow.com. So you guys can check it out there as well. Some extra content.
Yeah,
Too.
fun. I love New Jersey.
Yeah.
We could go.
There you go. There you go. Another extra spot to check out. So let's move on to our next story. I had teased earlier that if you die in a dream, is it really possible that you could die in real life? Well, here's the answer. There's much we don't understand about dreaming, but can particularly disturbing dreams really prove fatal? In the A Nightmare on Elm Street movies, an immortal supernatural villain, Freddy Krueger, kills his victims in their dreams, which in the films causes them to die in real life. While Krueger himself is clearly a work of fiction, the concept that it is possible to die because of something you experience in a dream has been explored and debated for many years. To begin with, nightmares are very much the real deal. These disturbing dreams, which can produce strong negative emotions, can be responsible for many hours of lost sleep. While most of us experience them only rarely, some people have nightmares on a regular basis. The resulting lack of sleep over an extended period of time can be highly detrimental to a person's health. Some might, like in the movies, go to great lengths to try and avoid going to sleep altogether. But while a chronic lack of sleep could potentially prove fatal, it's not quite the same as saying that a person has died in real life because they were killed in a dream. So, could it really happen? Theoretically, yes, it could. If someone experienced a dream that is terrifying enough and they happen to be suffering from an underlying heart condition, it is plausible for them to literally be frightened to death by a nightmare, perhaps even one in which they are killed in their dream. In practice, though, it is extremely unlikely that this would happen except in the most extreme of circumstances. The quote here from Tina Paunio from the University of Helsinki is generally the health risks of nightmares are typically indirect and are linked to the causative factors that underlie nightmares. That's according to the sleep expert professor. In vulnerable individuals, for example, those with a heart disease, nightmares can indirectly contribute to death, although this is rare. So, Jess, nightmares don't necessarily kill you in your sleep.
Thank goodness. One less thing to worry about.
Me, on the other hand, I got a little bit of a heart condition, so I'm probably going to be dead tomorrow. Just saying.
Only have good dreams then, Tim.
I hope so. I always wake
But
up.
not too good, because that could kill you too if you get too excited.
Oh, that's true. I guess I won't be having any pinworm in the anus dreams. You know what I'm saying? Just saying. That's going to haunt me for days. You know that, right?
You're welcome.
Yeah, thanks. Appreciate that. Let's talk briefly about Britain's most exorcised home and how pregnant newlyweds moved into an idyllic Welsh farmhouse before 7 years of terror that saw possessions, mysterious deaths, and apparitions. This sounds a little involved, doesn't it? Um, the story goes like this. The story of what happened in, I think it's pronounced, and I'm going to get emails because I know I'm pronouncing it wrong. Is it Helfanog? Which is the subject of a paranormal investigation for a BBC podcast, The Witch Farm, is presented by Danny Robbins. That podcast is actually out right now. The haunting spanned a period of 7 years, and Liz who is the wife in the situation, believes that she was possessed in the property and that it destroyed her husband. Speaking on the podcast, she said, I felt violated. The thought of something, some energy having the audacity to take your body, even for a short period of time, was disturbing. It all began when the family moved into the farmhouse in 1989. Liz was pregnant with her first child, Ben, but then the couple started hearing the heavy footsteps. Liz said they were not gentle footsteps. They were loud. It wanted to be heard, and it kept getting braver, whatever it was. Extreme hot and cold spots were felt within the house. There were also extreme smells, the disgusting stench of sulfur and the distinct aroma of incense appearing and disappearing frequently and randomly. By the way, the couple were shocked when they opened their first electricity bill at the house, and it was 750 pounds for just 3 months. Keep in mind, this was 1989.
Wow.
That was a lot of money.
Yeah.
That was the equivalent of almost 2,000 pounds today, or $2,000.
That's insane.
More than $2,000 for 3 months. That would drive you nuts. Absolutely drive you nuts.
I would drive you to the poorhouse. That's a lot.
It would. It would. They also noticed that Lawrence's personality was starting to change when they got into the house, that Liz's mother came to stay overnight and he spat in her face.
What?
Yeah, as they got into this house, he started to change. Liz also explained that within a few weeks of living in the house, all their animals had either died or gone crazy and ran away. Their pig died, 2 cats died, a guinea pig and a dog died, a herd of 6 goats died. This bizarre plague of madness had spread to all the animals that they had.
That's so scary.
It is. So I have to ask you, Jess, if you're living in a house like this and things just start going haywire everywhere, do you give up on the house or do you stick with it because you've sunk so much money into it already?
Well, like 20 years ago, I bought a house that had paranormal activity in it and we got out of it because I just wasn't emotionally capable and I didn't know what to do with it. It was probably more than 20 years ago. It's probably like 23. Um, but now I would probably stay in it because I know different things and I feel like we have more power than we know that we do. So I feel like we could probably clean it up and make it work.
Yeah. Well, as you get a little older and a little wiser, it's you can take on more, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
How about you? Would you stay in it or would you get the heck out of there?
When I was younger, I probably would have got out of there. Now
Yeah.
I could put up with it. It's
Yeah. You'd find a way to coexist or you'd find a way to clean it out or,
right. Right.
lessen the wildness of it.
The couple, by the way, had a second child in 1990, a little girl, Rebecca. And as she grew up, she also experienced paranormal activity. Speaking to the podcast, Rebecca said, I had recurring dreams. We all started sleeping in the same bedroom. I couldn't be alone at night. Numerous times we would be rushed out of the house in the middle of the night and taken to my grandparents' house. Liz said, I know people will just think we're weird people and we're making it up, but you'd have to have one hell of an imagination to make this all up. It felt dangerous in that house. The kids always slept with me. I wouldn't let them sleep on their own. I definitely felt very threatened there. When you've met evil, you know it. Ghosts don't scare me now because I've come up against such evil in my life. That's the truth. Bill further withdrew into himself and his art, creating even more dark and disturbing images. The haunting stepped up another terrifying gear as another apparition appeared in the house, a dark, scary figure. Bill and Liz were forced to flee, I believe it's Helfenag, and go to Liz's parents' house a couple of miles away. Desperate, they turned to a new exorcist, the Reverend David Holmwood, and was convinced that the paranormal activity was caused by something truly evil. David convinced the couple that it was the work of the devil, and he believed the answers lay in the mysteries of the past. Liz said he went through the house and picked out some of Bill's paintings and said that needs burning and burnt them. Podcast host Danny learned about a violent murder that occurred 150 years ago, taking place near the house in 1848. An innocent 18-year-old farm worker, James Griffiths, was attacked by 23-year-old Thomas Edwards, who hit him in the back of the head with an axe and then reportedly buried the corpse at a farm near Helfanog. He was later hanged for his crime. As the terrifying phenomena reached extreme heights, Bill started having dark thoughts, and Liz started to question if she was losing her mind. Liz and Bill prepared for the exorcism, and all exorcisms, or the exorcism to end all exorcisms, rather, was celebrated ghost hunter Eddie Burks. However, Bill started to believe that he was to blame for all the paranormal activity. Bill revealed he was hiding a dark secret and claimed he was a witch in the past. He had once been connected with a man who practiced witchcraft, even once half-heartedly taken part in a ritual before changing his mind. In 1996, the family eventually left the place, moving to Cowbridge after they inherited money when Liz's grandfather passed away. However, Bill couldn't shake off the dark feeling and turned to alcohol, which eventually killed him. Liz tearfully said, "There are a lot of people who just float through life and it's all nice and perfect and easy. I've wished a million times I could have had one of those lives." Kind of an interesting story, but that podcast is out now, and you can search it out wherever you get your podcast.
Well, that sounds like an interesting one.
Yeah, very much so. I'd also teased earlier that we're going to switch it up to some cryptid stories here. The FBI once tested Bigfoot for hair samples. A former agent is now claiming. The subject of Bigfoot was once seemingly important enough for even the FBI to take it seriously. You would think that the FBI, or the Federal Bureau of Investigation, would already have its hands full dealing with legitimate cases, but according to one former FBI agent, officials once spent time investigating the Bigfoot phenomena and even tried testing alleged samples of Sasquatch hair. The claim comes courtesy of 45-year-old Texas native Tracy Chandler Walder, who previously worked as a special agent with the FBI's Los Angeles field office. The case in question reportedly dates back to the 1970s and saw the FBI investigate samples of hair provided by a hunter who claimed that they had originated from the creature. Perhaps unsurprisingly, the samples turned out to be from a deer, but it was the FBI's willingness to conduct tests on them at all that makes the incident particularly intriguing. That hunter believed it was from Sasquatch or Bigfoot. They legitimately tested it and ran it through forensics labs, and it came back as being a species of deer, said Walder. But it's interesting that the FBI actually took it on. It kind of played into the conspiracy theories and legitimacy surrounding it. Could the FBI have had reasons for taking this particular case seriously? Did the Bureau know something about the phenomena that we don't? We may never know for sure. As for Walder, she has her own thoughts about the Bigfoot phenomenon. In my own opinion, with cryptids, I think they're probably a real species of animal that people have mistaken for something else or have actually never seen before, she said. It's kind of insular of us to think we've discovered every single species out there in the world. She says, I don't think we have. So that's quite interesting. So Bigfoot, or at least the hair sample they had, they think were deer. What do you think about that, Jeff?
I feel like that's what usually happens.
That it ends up being a species that we think we know, but it's...
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I tend to think that a lot of times, even when they think they know for sure they have Sasquatch, you end up getting a cross between two different animals that we know.
Yeah.
But I think that's quite frequently it ends up being something that yeah, we're familiar.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Just a couple more stories left in today's program. A 25-foot humped creature was filmed moving across the surface of Loch Ness. A veteran Nessie hunter has captured footage of something strange moving across the surface of the loch. There are a few Loch Ness monster enthusiasts as prolific as Ian O'Fadigan, who's a familiar name on the show, who has over the last few years recorded dozens of sightings of anomalous objects and disturbances in the waters of Scotland's most voluminous loch. The latest clip, which was captured via a webcam at the Klansman Hotel on October 25th, shows what appears to be two large humps protruding from the water. Two sections of this creature can be visibly seen rising out of the water as it moves at a steady pace, a large front hump and a larger second hump behind, said O'Fadigan. Both humps are black to dark gray in color, but visually striking in the environment. I was ecstatic. I said O'Fadigan and almost ecstatic. Now I want to do Irish limericks. I don't know why.
I love it.
I was ecstatic and captivated by this large, fast-moving, unidentified animal out of the deep water of the loch, he went on to say. My only instinct was that this could not be anything other than the Loch Ness Monster. Based on the footage, O'Fadigan estimates that the creature was 25 feet in length. It rises about 3 feet out of the water, he said. There are no known creatures in Loch Ness that have dimensions like this one. There's a clip attached to this, so of course, Jess will throw this one as well in the description of the program, and you can check it out for yourself. All right, second to last story. There's another cryptid out there, an unidentified creature captured on camera in Ritter Park, West Virginia. Brittany Keller had been driving through the park recently where she spotted something she'd never seen before. Footage of the sighting, which was recorded on October 24th, shows a small four-legged animal with a pointy face and long tail. You could say it's a fox, but we'll say it's something else, prompting some heated debate over what species it could possibly be. Actually, I'll show you the picture here, Jess, and you tell me. I see it, and I see a fox.
Well, I don't know. It has such an oddly shaped face. Its head is so long.
It is kind of long. I mean, some people would argue it could be a chupacabra.
Yeah, it doesn't quite look like a fox to me, but it could just be the angle that we're looking at it at too.
Or it could be an anteater.
Well, that was my first thought. Kind
Yeah.
of that long anteater like face.
Yeah.
And the legs in the back look kind of trunky. Don't they look kind of big and thick and the tail looks thick?
A little bit, yeah. The tail's very thick, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of goofy looking.
It does have a wolf type appearance too. Um, so footage of the sighting, which was recorded on October 24th, shows a small four-legged animal with a pointy face and long tail, prompting some heated debate over what species it could possibly be. Keller, who had been driving to work at the time, couldn't believe what she was seeing when the mystery creature appeared next to a small herd of deer at the side of the road. I realized that it was something I had never seen before, she told WSAZ. The mystery could go on to generate a great deal of interest on social media, with some users suggesting that the animal could be a type of lemur, which is a species native to the island of Madagascar, which is situated some 9,000 miles off the coast of Africa. Wildlife expert Andy McKee, however, believes that the most likely explanation is that the mystery creature is a fox with mange, a type of contagious skin disease known to affect some types of wild animals. The explanation would certainly make more sense than a lemur, but without capturing the creature, it may be impossible to confirm exactly what type of animal it is. That's
You'll
true.
never know, Tim.
Well, we may never know. That's true. That's what they say, at least in the Tootsie Pop commercials. Finally, Jess, we round out today's program with a story that it seems like a lot of you needed to absolutely bombard my email with, and that is monkeys. Well, you all know I love monkeys.
We
Of course,
love monkeys.
I want to run away to a desert island with one, or at least find one on a desert island and start a new life. But it turns out that a research facility in South Carolina accidentally let 43 of them go. I mean, they wouldn't do it on purpose, would they? Or would they?
No, I wouldn't think so.
Well, they might have. You never know. Maybe some people wrote me and said this is the start of the zombie apocalypse. That they let these diseased monkeys go only to start the zombie apocalypse. Some of you wrote me and said, well, they've armed them with intelligence, and this is the counter troops for Skynet, that they're going to battle Skynet, and this is our saving grace.
I like that theory.
That's another theory. Others of you said this is the beginning of the Planet of the Apes. That could be it too. But as it turns out, these monkeys weren't that intelligent. Sorry, folks.
They weren't.
No. Turns out that more than half of the monkeys that escaped from a primate research facility last week in South Carolina have now been recaptured. they weren't that smart of monkeys.
No zombie apocalypse.
No zombie apocalypse. More like monkeys on the lam got caught again. Yep. Of the 43 monkeys that broke loose from Alpha Genesis, officials managed to recover 25 of them between Saturday and Sunday, leaving 18 of the animals still on the lam in Yamasee, which is a small town about 60 miles west of Charleston. The primates, a bare-faced species known as rhesus macaques, you got to love the rhesus macaques, by the way, made a break for it on Wednesday when a caretaker at the research center failed to lock the doors after a feeding.
Oh, somebody doesn't have a job anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. So it wasn't like they did anything like got together in a huddle and said, we're just going to make a break for it, boys, or anything like that. Yeah, it was just a errant caretaker. Police in Yamasee said Sunday on Facebook that a sizable group remains active. They remain active, Jess. Like they have a plan. They got together.
Yeah, they're conspiring.
They're holed up in a hotel somewhere, living off of cigarettes and bananas. They remain active near the research center's fence line and had bedded down in the trees for the night. Oh, it's the cutest thing ever.
I know. They're so adorable.
Yeah. The post, which quoted Alpha Genesis CEO Greg Westergaard, said the company's recovery process will continue until all the animals are safely recovered. Since their escape, the monkeys have been spotted in the trees among the woods surrounding the 100-acre Alpha Genesis facility. Alpha Genesis, which houses about 500 monkeys. So see, not that many got away. Less than 10%.
It's not bad. We should work there.
I know, right?
That would be so fun.
That'd be kind of cool. Yeah. I mean, there's 500 monkeys to play with.
I wonder what they're using them to test, though. It's kind of sad.
Male pattern baldness, probably. Yeah. Just saying. They've got about 500 monkeys to play with over there and a variety of species. There's a variety of species there. At 2 South Carolina sites for biomedical studies and scientific research, has identified the animals as young rhesus macaques females weighing no more than 7 pounds. Oh, so you can put them on your shoulders.
Oh, you could. You could have one on each shoulder. They're so tiny.
Yeah, you can just, carry them around with you. Yeah, you could sing that "My Buddy and Me" song. My buddy and me. Da, 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 da. Have a picnic. You could have a rhesus macaque picnic.
Oh, it just sounds so lovely.
Yeah, you have peanut butter and nanner sandwiches. You can watch them eat the peanut butter and nanner sandwiches and then not be able to talk afterwards because they're all full of peanut butter. Drink.
Then you can laugh at them because it's adorable.
You can't talk because you got peanut butter and nanner sandwiches and stuck in your teeth. The company, along with law enforcement, has been baiting the primates with food. I bet you it's peanut butter and nanner sandwiches. The monkeys that escaped have not yet been used for testing due to their size and young age and do not pose a risk to the public since they're too young to carry disease. That's right. They're too young to get STDs, Jess. I don't know. Still, the town's 2,200 residents have been asked to keep their doors and windows closed. Anyone who spots the monkeys are warned against approaching the skittish animals and are asked to instead call 911. So, by the way, the 25 that were recaptured are in good health.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, nothing happened to them while they were out and about. Out and about.
They just had an adventure.
That's right. They're just swung around in some trees and, tried to fend for themselves for a day or two. By the way, it's not the first time that monkeys have escaped from Alpha Genesis. Evidently, they're quite liberal with their jail policy over there at Alpha Genesis. 26 monkeys 2 years ago got away from Alpha Genesis. Good God.
Man.
In 2016, 19 monkeys got away from Alpha Genesis. So they have a problem.
They do.
Come feeding time. They like to let their monkeys get away.
So we could get a job there. I mean, clearly you don't have to be extremely qualified.
That's right. That's right. And evidently, come bedtime, they have a problem with no more monkeys jumping on the bed. So Yeah, Alpha Genesis. Plenty of problems with their monkeys. So that's the story there over at Alpha Genesis.
That's a good story. That's a nice one to end it on. That
Yeah,
made me happy.
there you go. So that'll do it for Supernatural News for today. So there you go. So, Jess, this weekend we got a little ghost hunting going on up there at the Palmer House.
We sure do. It's going to be so much fun.
That's right. We got a lot of fun going on at the Palmer House this weekend. You have not one, not two, but three books now for sale.
I do.
Yeah.
I mean, you can buy all the other old ones too. I still make money off those when you buy them. So
So, how many books in total do you have for sale then? Like 103? How many? How many now?
I think I have 12. I don't really count. I stopped paying attention. I always know like how many I have coming out. So then I'm like, they're out. They're in the world. Kind of like my kids. I think I have three, but two of them are in the world. So
So I was going to say your kids are out in the wild right now with the macaque monkeys. Is that the deal?
they're kind of like monkeys. I've always called them monkeys.
Okay. So they're out in the wild. They're out there. By all means, support them.
Yes.
And the kids as well. Um, uh, we'll have a link in the description of this program, not only for the books, but to support the kids as well. Um, so there's that. Um, yeah. So there you go. Do you have the date up for the trip after this weekend?
I do. It's the first weekend of January. So I think that's January 3rd.
Okay.
And we've already sold some tickets.
There you go. All right. So
Yeah.
we will have a link in the description of this program so you can go to Ghost Stories Inc. and start ordering your tickets for January. There you go.
That's going to be an extra fun one because it's a mindfulness and manifesting and ghosts. And I love all of that. So
Yeah.
that's kind of our like get fired up and manifest shit in this year. That's usually what my workshop is.
Nice. All right. All right. So we'll look forward to that and we'll put that up. Actually, we'll put up the link so people can go and order tickets for that. Boy, tomorrow on the big program. You ready for this, Jess?
Yeah, you going to tease us or just tell us?
I'm telling you, straight out.
Yes.
Straight out. On the big program tomorrow, a good friend of ours, Dr. Heather Lynn, comes back to the program. And we are talking about her brand new book, which has to do with, remember, I did the big horns. Remember, I did the horns on top?
Yes. Yes.
And I said, not necessarily evil, but evil symbols, right? What if I told you that tomorrow we're talking about Baphomet?
Ooh. Yeah, that's going to be a good one.
Name of the Boo Nook. The name of the God, I can't even talk anymore. I've lost it. Name of the new book is Baphomet Revealed: Mysteries and Magic of the Sacred Icon.
Oh, I can't wait.
Yeah. So the little teaser on this uh, from Travis McHenry, he says, Baphomet Revealed lifts the veil covering the most enduring occult symbol of our age. Heather Lynn approaches Baphomet as a scholar who's not afraid to include hints of esoteric wisdom in her research, revealing the androgynous horned beast not as a devil, but as a pathway to spiritual perfection.
Ooh, that's a twist.
Yeah, the hidden meaning
I'm
behind
intrigued.
Baphomet tomorrow.
Yeah, so intrigued.
Yeah. So there's a little bit more to Baphomet than what you may know. It's not necessarily a horny, devilish goat. There you go.
Not just your average horny devil.
Nope. So that's coming up tomorrow on the big show.
Good one.
Got to put on your thinking cap tomorrow.
There's going to be a lot of stuff to learn
That's right. So we've got
from
that.
a very smart lady.
That's right. She is. Dr. Heather Lynn's very smart.
She is.
Not only that, but you know what? She's got her own trained chipmunks.
Get out of here.
Serious. Yeah. I found that out
Wow.
last time she was on the program. We were talking about trained chipmunks. She has her own trained chipmunk. So I doubt we'll talk about that on the show tomorrow, but I'll talk to her before the show about her own trained chipmunks.
Kindred spirits.
Yeah, exactly. So, But tomorrow on the show, Baphomet Revealed. So
Very cool.
yeah, so that's coming up on the big program tomorrow. So that'll do it for Supernatural News. For Jessica Freeburg, I'm Tim Dennis. Thank you so much for, again, tuning into the program. If you're listening to this show, if you're listening to the audio, you want to know how you can watch the video, it's real simple. Go to YouTube, look up the original Darkness Radio. You can see Jessica's bright, smiling, shining face. My face, not so much. You don't want to see my face so much. But you're going to want to see Jessica's face. So go to YouTube, subscribe, hit the bell, whatever it is you do, ring a ding ding. What I don't know. They always say hit the bell, do whatever, subscribe, like, whatever it is. But subscribe to us on YouTube. We're adding new subscribers every day, which is really cool. I love seeing the subscription totals go up and up and up and up. So do that, please. So please subscribe to us on YouTube. If you're confused as to how you get there or find us, it's real simple. You can go to darknessradioshow.com. So we appreciate it if you do that as well. Do that for us. And then we'll see you tomorrow for Dr. Heather Lynn right here on the best in paranormal podcasting. This is Darkness Radio.
For more audio and video archives of the show, intriguing content, and cool swag, check out darknessradioshow.com. Thank you for watching, and tune in tomorrow for Dr. Heather Lynn and Baphomet Revealed.